growing up and liking anime and liking all this stuff, I'm not gonna say it was dangerous, but there were because there was a point where a lot of us were in like 6th grade and we were sharing comic books, right? We were get, because that was when Venom and Carnage came out and they had the limited edition like metal covers, and we were all into comic books. X-Men had cards. And they were like trading cards, and they had everyone's powers.
Remember those?
If you were Omega level mutant and all that, right? And there was a moment when there was a bunch of us that were all in that same level, right? And then all of a sudden, we came back to 7th grade, and dudes was bringing pistols to school. The same dudes that was borrowing my comics and hanging out, and we playing like Sonic and shit at the house. Now they out there taking 38s to school. Now they fighting, cracking dudes' jaws like over nothing. And so it became this bridge. It became this big divide in between that. Crazy. So then what happened? And it was wild. And so then all of a sudden, it's almost like Debo, like I'm tuck my shit in. So then I stopped talking about liking comics. Like honest to God, my cousin, who's like my brother, he's got his own podcast. I'm gonna shout him out real quick. It's called From Where I Sit podcast. We didn't know each one of us liked anime like on a real deep level until like 2 years ago.
Wow.
Because he was in Brooklyn too, and you just didn't talk about that. Like I didn't say about to family. I just did I didn't tell people I watched kung fu movies and I liked watching them in the original language. So I liked watching them subtitled because I hate dubbed. I hate dubbed, yo. I would go to Chinatown and get different flicks, you know what I mean? Watch different movies or hang out in different parts of New York City. And I didn't tell nobody that. And then so at a certain time, you get a label. So then I started to get bigger. So now I get labeled as now you're a big dude. So I had people call me big man, big guy, big dude since middle of 7th. That's kind of shot up 8th grade. And then you get into little scuffles here and there. Now, I'm not going to get on here and say I'm like 44. No, because I got my shit rocked a couple times, but you get into fights. Like you get into fights and then now you fight. And then now you're a big guy. And then you get out of middle school and you get to high school and you play football. And so now I'm a football player. And so that is the perception that I've had. And it took a realization maybe 3 years ago, right before I started my podcast, that I had good friends that only know me as a football player. I mean, they know me as a dad and know me as a husband and a friend, but I don't talk about that side of me, right? Even when I was in college with Clint, like because we had like a safe space, right? Like because Scott collected figures, we watched anime, we played fighting games of on Sega Dreamcast. You know what I mean? Like so it would like a little bit would come out, but I still kept a lot to myself. And I had this realization. I was like, how come people that I've played football with, or at that time, I think I'm still playing football, like, no, I had just finished. So like 4 years ago, so I just finished playing football. And I was like, people don't know me anything other than a football player. And I was like, I gotta like say something. And by chance or whatever, I came across an article, right? And it was about a football player. And at the time, he was playing for the Green Bay Packers. His name was Mike Daniels. Shout out to Mike Daniels. He actually follows me on Instagram now. That's my claim to fame, right? But he's a football player, right? And he showed up to Comic-Con in full anime dress as the Raikage from Naruto. I don't know if you ever watched that, but those are ninjas from the Cloud Village, and those ninjas are black, right? So he showed up in full head to toe dress, kicked open the doors, was acting in the voice and everything, and his brother went as the character. He was his brother, like, so they were playing dressed up, cosplaying brothers from the anime, and they were there, and they're both big dudes. Like his brother's like 6'3", 220 something, football player. Crazy. He's 6'1", he's from Jersey. They're from Jersey, and he was like, my love of anime is what got me to the NFL. The fact that I've never been the biggest, I've never been the fastest, I wasn't the strongest. And so I could watch an anime like Naruto and see him work his butt off and get better. and people respect him for his hard work. Well, he said, well, then I can do the same thing. And I read that article, man, and it was like it changed my whole life. I started my podcast like a month later. And I was like, I'm going to talk about all the stuff I want to talk about. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to let y'all know I love anime. Like, I watch it, subtitled. Like, I watch Japanese anime. I watch Korean dramas on Netflix. Like, yo, my Netflix is like a passport. I ain't got to leave my couch, man. Like, I watch Korean dramas. I watch Japanese movies, Korean TV shows. I watch TV shows from Spain, Germany, and like Polish TV shows. They have some really good shows. Like, I be getting into them a lot too. And it's been eye-opening to do this as an adult, but as a youth, it was kind of scary. And I just fell into the role that I'm a football player and that's it. So I need to conduct myself as a football player and conduct myself as a kid from the inner city. And
that's the problem with Black people, though, because we box ourselves in.
Yes.
We box ourselves in to the point where, we don't allow ourselves to see what's outside in the world, to open our spirits up to like different things. It's okay. Like, and it coming from the world we come from in New York, it's cool because we learn different religions, different cultures. You know what I'm saying? Like, like you was talking about karate, like that was the dopest thing. Like, my pops used to watch that like every Saturday.
Every Saturday from like 1 to 5, they always had 2 martial arts movies on.
Right. And that thing was on point, bro. Like, I remember even with karate, that I used to like get the karate slippers. I'm gonna tell you, bro. I was like you. I played football when I was a kid, and my uncles used to always. They used to work in like Chinese restaurants. They used to cook and stuff like that, and they used to like kind of dress like the Asian people they work with, but in a Black way. Like, they would wear like jeans with the karate slippers.
For real,
You know what I'm saying? So one day, I was like, Mom, I want a pair of karate slippers. My mom was like, oh, you want them? All right, I'll get them. My mom said that too fast. I don't know. She said that way too fast. I was like, yo, I felt it in my spirit, like, yo, this is a bad thing, Clint. Now, listen, I didn't get teased. Everybody thought it was cool because everybody was rocking karate slippers and stuff like that. But I played football in them. And them things, I ran them down in like a week. Literally had a hole at the bottom of the slipper.
They ain't nothing but cloth and a little bit of like material at the bottom.
Oh man, I wore them things out. But karate, and I don't know about the rest of the world, but I think for us, I think in New York, karate was, I think that would be the start.
Yeah.
Of us getting into like anime and things like that, and my thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I feel like Thundercats is Thundercats is that considered to be anime?
I think it is. Really?
It wouldn't be, but you know what? Actually, what is anime is Voltron. The original Voltron. So here's a story about that. So the original Voltron is a Japanese created cartoon, but it's called DIC. DIC. They were the American company that purchased it because they're like, yo, we can sell, because they were hooked in with Hasbro and like, we can sell toys. So they brought Voltron from Japan, but they changed the name because in Japan it was called Go King Robot, like Go Lion King Robot or something like that. Wow. And then they didn't understand it. So like the version of Voltron that we watched as a kid was out of order. Like the first episode that aired was like the middle, like the 4th episode.
That's
because they didn't understand it. So it's like if you go back, and they used to have it on Netflix, the original Voltron. They had the original Voltron because Netflix made a new one, which is like awesome, by the way.
Yeah, it is awesome. I was about to say
the new one is dope.
It's dope.
But they had the original one on, and then you could finally watch it in sequence, and it makes so much more sense.
Okay.
And you realize it was all out of order because they didn't understand it.
That is so dope, man.
But that was, I think that was a lot of our generation's first like dipping the toe into anime, and that style was Voltron. And then early in the 60s it was Speed Racer. Speed Racer is
I didn't like Speed Racer too much, man.
Speed Racer with Chim Chim.
Okay.
I mean,
don't get me wrong. I watched it. I love the theme song and everything. And you know me. I've been using the meme ever since. For the past ever since when they was talking about the marathon continues, I was always putting up the Speed Racer meme and said the marathon continues.
Yes,
man.
but I didn't. I could. It didn't do anything for me. Speed Racer did not do anything for me,
and it's hard. It's hard because again, it was in the 60s, so it doesn't really resonate. I think it's resonated more due to nostalgia. But like Clint said, the Kung Fu movies plus Voltron, and then everybody wanted to be Bruce Lee. Everybody wanted, you know what I'm saying? And then you start watching, then what happens is because the video age, everybody's going to video stores back then. Like every hood had like a video store. It wasn't just Blockbuster. It was everybody had Mario's video. Yeah.
Right.
Movie Stop, Suncoast Video, Hollywood Video.
Right.
And so you could go get the Chinese, you can get the old school Jet Li movies before he came to America in Lethal Weapon 4. So people knew about Jet Li because they was watching Once Upon a Time in China. They was watching all these movies. I'm like, man, this is bad. And so you had a whole groundswell of all these Asian characters. And then the first Ong Bak came out in like the late 90s with Tony Jaa. And it just, so like that Kung Fu, karate, martial arts is kind of like what kind of gets people in the world. And then what really was big for a lot of kids in the neighborhood, like a lot of kids that are in the younger generation than me, was Toonami. Like Cartoon Network's Toonami. Toonami was big because they started airing Dragon Ball Z and it was dubbed. And so now everyone had a chance to watch Dragon Ball Z because a lot of people don't understand there was a Dragon Ball. Like Dragon Ball Z doesn't start with Dragon, it doesn't start with Z.
I always wanted that.
There was a
Dragon Ball.
It came out in the 80s. It was like from 87 to like 88 or 89. And so Dragon Ball was dope. Dragon Ball was more ferocious because like literally at the end of Dragon Ball, like Goku goes nuts and like kills the whole Red Ribbon Army. Like he just destroys the whole base. But they made it more about the fight scenes and in Dragon Ball Z. I mean, there was a couple of storyline stuff, but the main storyline was just like Goku's gonna fight this one person for like the whole season. Yeah. Like the Cell arc was like I think a season and a half, when he fought Tien the second time, or the first time was a long one. When he fought Piccolo, that was almost a whole season worth of him fighting Piccolo and then Piccolo being friends. So, but Toonami brung a lot because then you could watch more than just that. So then you started watching 8-Man After, Kashan the Robot Hunter.
And they even brought Thundercats on there when they first aired.
Yep, they had Thundercats. You had Blue Six, Big O, because me and Scott used to watch Big O at in college when they aired it because they had a whole thing where they aired the whole season in like 2 nights.
Wasn't Cowboy Bebop a part of Toonami's?
Yep, Cowboy Bebop was part of Toonami. So I think that's a big reason why Cowboy Bebop is so huge now because everyone started watching. It's like, yo, this is amazing.
That's dope.
And Samurai Champloo, talk about mixing hip hop and anime.
I didn't get into Samurai Champloo, but I gotta say this real quick because I know they watching. Shout out my boys Troy and Mark because they some big Dragon Ball Z friends, QV3. So I got to shout them out, man, because they're like supreme Dragon Ball Z friends.
Hey, you know what's crazy? I didn't watch. So listen, once again, I don't watch anime. I know, but I'm gonna ask Chris about something. Like, I want to get into it, so I'm gonna try to get some startups, some stuff that I would want to get into. But I didn't watch Dragon Ball Z until I got to college, watching it with them, watching it with Chris. You know what I'm saying? Because Chris, they was heavy on Dragon Ball Z.
Even though I didn't like it, Scott was more happy. Scott loved it.
That's what it probably was. That's what it was. It was Scott. It was Scott.
Like all my friends, my boy Wes, who lives in Atlanta, he has a podcast. I'm gonna shout. He gets on me all the time. He says I'm blasphemous because I talk trash about them. Because I'm like, it was just fights. Like there was no story. And like Goku. But Goku was never going to get hurt. That's why I say
he
Naruto
did get hurt at times.
But he always got better. Like he
was a star that kept the show.
Yo, Naruto almost died like 4 times. He died once. Like he actually died, and they resuscitated. He lost the arm.
I remember that episode too.
Like he lost like Naruto lost the arm and only got it back because it had the Hashirama cells. Like he had legit issues that he had to overcome. Whereas with Goku was going to borrow somebody's energy. He was going to hit him with a spirit bomb and he was going to win, or he was going to go to the hyperbolic chamber. He was going to go into the chamber, train for like what was a year, but really be like 5 years and come out and be Super Saiyan.
So like, the culprit is really just Naruto had better writers than Dragon Ball Z.
Yes. In some cases they dropped the ball on Sakura, but I think, but it was a conscious decision. Like like Clint said with Drake, they said, do we want to give the fans what they want and make money, or do we want to write the story that we wrote in Dragon Ball but no one wants it? And so they got to the fork in the road and they said, we're gonna make this money. It's all about fights, it's all about instant transmissions, it's all about everybody wanting Gohan to be the next big thing. You know, at Kid Buu is my favorite art. Kid Buu was like disrespectful to everybody. Kid Buu turned a person into chocolates and ate them and was like, yo, we got so that was one of my good arcs, but they decided to say, let's give the fans what they want. Like Dragon Ball Z is kind of like an ultimate like guy non-sexual fan service. We're just gonna have fights and we're gonna make them last the whole season.
Yeah, definitely. I got one question. So, you ever heard this show called Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs?
So what is it?
Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs.
Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs. Is that the one where they were on Mars?
It sounded like it was, but
he had like the Native American, and it was like super racist. He had a Native American like friend. He was like Lone Wolf or something like that. And it was, I might be mixing up cartoons, but
it might be. But yeah, Saber Rider and Star Sheriffs. It's kind of the similar concept to Voltron a little bit, but these guys are Saber Rider. The Star Sheriffs are like kind of like bounty hunters. Okay, and they go all over the universe searching for like criminals and bringing them in. But they pilot these robots and they come together to form one big huge robot, kind of like Voltron a little bit. Yeah, and it was pretty dope, man.
No, I haven't seen that. It's different. The only other robot one other than Voltron was GoBots, which was kind of like a knockoff of Transformers.
Yeah, I remember GoBots.
So because that was a big thing, you like GoBots or you like Transformers.
Right.
But yeah, man, I think anime right now, because of those early innovations by channels like Cartoon Network, and you could start watching stuff like late at night, like on Comedy Central would even have certain things. It was pretty cool because then it opened people's eyes. So kids in the hood who was up late at night not sleeping because we don't have no sleep schedule, right? So they was watching anime and they was getting addicted to it, and that's why you got Megan Thee Stallion who's rapping all about anime damn near in cosplay every time.
Wow.
Because she grew up on that and it became mainstream because all of that generation talked about it together. Whereas my generation, the older generation, you didn't talk about it. You had no one to talk about it because you kept it in the shell. So it looks like we like bandwagon fans because we talking about it now because of social media and everything. But we was like carrying that torch solo when it wasn't cool to carry.
A lot of people like that now. It's a lot of people like it. Hey, this is dope, man. I got two of my brothers on here talking about it.
Awesome. Yeah, man, it's just vibing. This is awesome. Like, who was one of the first rappers though to carry that was I can't remember his name. I mean, Kick Push. He came out with Kick.
Lupe Fiasco.
Lupe Fiasco was one of the first dudes that was dropping bars.
Yes, he was.
about anime. Like my man's a full on samurai.
Oh,
did you see his training?
Yeah.
He's a swordsman.
Serious with it.
He's a full on swordsman. Like
you're
he
right.
has practiced and mastered his style. But yeah, it was the first one because he was. I mean, just his name Lupe is a mix of Lupin the Third.
Yeah,
which is
he dropped that bar in that Kanye song, man.
Yep.
Oh, that sample was hard, Kanye.